My special guest today is the British High Commissioner to Malaysia, His Excellency Simon Featherstone. Your Excellency, welcome to Banana Star.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on your posting.
Thank you so much.
So are you excited about being London's man to in Kuala Lumpur?
Very much so. I've actually been here exactly 2 months today, and I've had a fascinating first 8 weeks here, and I think I'm going to enjoy the posting enormously.
There is trade, there is education, there is people, there are politics. What is going to be your approach? What is going to be your key role here?
Well, I think the important thing for the High Commissioner is to try to create the right political framework in which all these other activities can really flourish. So my top priority is to make sure that we get that right, and then the whole range of things, the things you've mentioned, but also science and technology, defence, a whole range of different issues come within that overall political framework.
What proportion of your time will you focus on new areas of cooperation, new opportunities for partnerships between the UK and Malaysia?
I think it's very hard to distinguish between new and existing, because to me they're all new and they're all important. So on any given day I might be attending a science colloquium or a trade fair, or talking to the Foreign Ministry about some foreign policy issue, but all of them are important, and I don't think it's easy at this stage to predict what percentage is dealing with what topic.
Mm-hmm. Your forte is said to be trade. You were, I mean, it was exemplified by your work in Switzerland as the ambassador, and you were the consul general in Shanghai. And how much of that is going to weigh down here, trade, your focus?
Well, I think trade and investment are key parts of our relationship with Malaysia, and indeed the new government is very much wanting all ambassadors and high commissioners to be trade diplomats. So I certainly expect that to be a top priority, and as you say, I've done that in other parts of the world too.
Mm-hmm. As director of the UK's World Trade Programme in Shanghai, must have been quite an experience for you, and you must have also had a good look at the Malaysian pavilion when you were there.
I did indeed. Yes, for the last 18 months I've been in charge of our UK programme, which was very exciting, because as well as building what I think was quite an iconic pavilion, we organised something like 150 business events and some pretty major cultural events too. So I think it was one of the most exciting jobs I've done in the Foreign Office, certainly very different from anything else. And you're right, I did go and see the Malaysian pavilion, and I did think that was very good too. We were rather honoured to be given the gold medal for the best pavilion at the end of it, so that was a nice reward for our efforts.
Mm-hmm. The British government, the new coalition government, has revamped the UK's foreign policy. What is the new tone, the new element in terms of the UK-Malaysia relationship?
Well, I think Malaysia is extremely important on a number of levels. Firstly, the UK is very much wanted to give new emphasis to what we're calling the emerging powers. So countries like Malaysia, where the growth rate is still much higher than ours is, are very important to us. And I think there's a feeling in the current government that the previous government didn't give enough attention to Southeast Asia and Malaysia in particular. So we've seen an increased tempo of ministerial visits in both directions, and I'm sure that will continue right up to the highest level. We've also given a great new emphasis to our relations with the Commonwealth, and obviously Malaysia is an absolutely key member of the Commonwealth, and indeed your former Prime Minister Badawi is chairing the Eminent Persons Group, which we attach a huge amount of importance to, because we're hoping that will come up with some new proposals to really give new life to the Commonwealth. So on a number of levels, Malaysia is absolutely top of the pops in terms of the new government's priorities.
Yesterday, the UK government launched a public consultation on the student visa route to the UK. The consultation, is it designed to restrict the number of foreign students coming into the UK?
Well, firstly, let me put this in context, which is that we're extremely keen to see top quality students attending really first-rate courses in the UK. And as you know, our universities have a very well-deserved reputation. I think we have the 4 top universities in Europe, and those 4 are among the 10 top universities in the world. So we certainly want to attract the brightest and best from this part of the world. And I'm really pleased to say that the quality of Malaysian students is generally very high indeed. But obviously what the government is keen to do is to avoid the student route being used as a way of getting around our ordinary immigration rules. So they will be looking very closely at a number of aspects of that, particularly people who are attending courses which are of a lower level JANT degree courses, and indeed where their English proficiency is extremely low to start with. So part of this consultation is to try to make sure we get the rules right so that we continue to attract the brightest and best from places like Malaysia, but that we don't allow that to become a loophole in our normal immigration controls.
Mm-hmm. So the consultation will be about 8 weeks, and who are these people that you will consult with?
Well, anyone can contribute to the consultation. There's a way of doing that online. The consultation ends at the end of January. I think we're expecting, obviously, educational institutions, organisations which have a particular interest, including the British Council and others, to contribute. But it's open to anyone who wants to express a view, and there's some quite clear questions which are set out in the consultation document.
So will this effectively mean that it'll be an end to students going to the UK and after finishing their courses staying back to look for jobs?
I mean, that is one of the areas which the consultation is looking at, how easy it should be to convert from being a student visa to a work visa. And I think one of the proposals which is being considered is to require people to come back to Malaysia or the sending country before applying for a work permit, rather than it being something which can be done in the UK. But as I say, it's just a proposal which is being considered at the moment, and that's part of what the consultation is about.
In terms of the Malaysian students, the majority, I must say, in fact I must say all of them go to the UK with a genuine desire to study. What will be the impact of this consultation be on students from countries like Malaysia?
Well, as I say, we are very pleased with the quality and level of student we get from Malaysia. They tend to be extremely hard-working and a great credit to Malaysia. So we don't see them being affected very much. What we are trying to tackle are institutions which are offering very low-level courses which are not really leading to degrees or meaningful qualifications. But I don't think there are many Malaysians who are entering into such arrangements.
So is this all a part of the move to reduce net migration into the UK?
That's right. We want to make sure that those who go to the UK genuinely are either going to get a worthwhile qualification or have something to contribute on the work front. And what we don't want is people using studying as a way around the immigration system.
Last month, the Migration Advisory Committee published its report on the annual limit on migration through tiers 1 and 2. That these are the people who are going to work in the UK. Can you shed some light on what this report is all about?
Well, what we're trying to do is make sure that the people who come to work in the UK are genuinely going to add value to the British economy, and therefore are the high quality jobs which where in the case of Malaysia there are particular qualifications that people can bring to bear. So there will be a ceiling on the overall numbers which is being set centrally, but again we don't want to deter people who are coming to work and are genuinely qualified to do so.